Ladies and gentlemen, welcome in on this Wednesday evening here. This is September 16, 2015. This is the Big Three DFS show, the college football edition. And if you're wondering, yes, that is a new face on the screen. It's our buddy Casey Carruthers, big writer for Daily Fantasy Sports Rankings. Definitely check them out, dailyfantasysportsrankings.com. He's the head NCAA football guy over there. Much knowledge, much respect in this game. Casey, thank you for joining us.
Thanks a lot, guys.
You got it. And in this ugly mug that you've been seeing every week, you know this guy. It's Nicky Rodriguez from the bottom of the map. What's up, kid?
How's it going, guys? It's another beautiful night here.
It is. You know, as I just found out, Casey not too far away from where I am, so you know, we're experiencing a little bit of the same weather. We'll take that hand in hand. I like a little bit of coolness in the air, you know?
Oh, yeah. Good. It means football.
Indeed. All right, so, you know, we're here for the 4-game college slate kicking off tomorrow night. You know, I guess tomorrow night is Clemson at Louisville. I believe Clemson's a 6.5-point favorite in this one, correct?
Yeah, line's dropping a little bit.
All right. So I got, you know, we're going to go position by position, but at least, you know, we know that that's the first game for Thursday night. Case, we'll start it off with you, throw you right in the mix. Who's the lock at quarterback that you got to have for this short slate?
I mean, I don't hate to be Captain Obvious here, but I think Deshaun Watson's the guy you got to go with.
All right.
He hasn't had to really turn it on in the first 2 weeks, but now they're facing stiffer competition in Houston, so you're probably going to get full throttle Watson from start to finish in this one. I like the spread being relatively close, still got a total in the 50s, so there's definitely some opportunity for Watson to put up some numbers, probably the best on the year.
All right. Now, I got to fade off a little. I know we kind of, not necessarily disagreement, but I like, if I'm in a tournament, I like to go outside the obvious. If I'm going to go with a lock this week, I'm going to go with Everett Golson. I know Cook had the big game last week. You know, they did play shitbag USF. But, you know, I like, you know, Gold. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so, of course, I got a little bit of, you know, rooting history here with the guy. But, you know, especially in a game where I think, you know, we're going to see a ton of runs from BC. I mean, you know, let's see FSU mix it up a little bit. FSU's been pretty strong on the ground those first 2 games, but, you know, really haven't played superior competition. Not that BC is superior competition, but I look for them to get the ball going a little bit in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Golson's not a bad guy to go if you're talking for a GPP. Yeah, I probably would steer away from Watson because he's going to be the favorite play. So far, Golson hasn't been real crisp. The first game he started out real nice, but it was against some FCF schools. So now that the Boston College is in town, not that they're a great team, but they play a little bit tougher defense. I like Golson from a GPP standpoint, but I'm still sticking with Watson for my cash games.
Yeah, and I got you. And you know what it is, too, on a slate like this where the talent, you kind of got to spread it all around a little bit. Having Watson there at 9,500, well, at least on DraftKings. We'll get a price check on FanDuel here real quick, but I mean, you know, I feel like that's going to eat up a lot of your salary right there. So.
Yeah, DraftKings is a different story. Pricing's real tough on DraftKings, has been all year.
What is he on FanDuel?
9,300.
Yeah.
9,300. All right. Nick, who you got? Quarterback.
I have to agree with both of you guys. GPP play, I'm going to have 2 lineups. I'm looking at Golston. I like his matchup against Boston College, like you said, and Watson is definitely the lock of the night. Last week he played the FCS team, but the week before he played against South Carolina and had a great game, scored 4 total touchdowns, 2 in the air, 2 running. So this is definitely a lock play if you're playing a 50-50.
Faux show. All right, let's get it going. Who's the sleeper guy that we're looking at here?
Sleeper, so I'm going to shift over to DraftKings here because I'm not sure that the pricing's tough enough on FanDuel that you really need to go sleeper at quarterback.
Okay.
So on DraftKings, where you can get a little bit of salary relief is Lamar Jordan, the New Mexico quarterback. Now, a little bit of timeshare there, so there's some rub on that one for sure. But predominantly all he does is run the ball, and that's gravy points for a quarterback. He's coming in cheap. He gives you a little bit of salary relief. You know, I wouldn't put any kind of confidence on it, but on DraftKings, with the way the pricing's been, you got to accept a little bit more risk in your lineups, and he's a guy that might be able to hit value coming in at a relatively cheap salary.
Well, now let me ask you too. Are you more of a FanDuel or a DraftKings guy?
That's my natural hedge. I play whichever site is offering me the better lineup for that given week. So far, it's been FanDuel. I've felt it where I just was more confident with my lineups on FanDuel. So I've shifted a little bit more of my bankroll to that site in the early going, but I'm not loyal.
Spoken like a true businessman. I mean, we were talking a little before we got on air. Casey's been hot this far. 12 of 13 contests he's won, and I believe you took first place in, what was that, the red shirt contest, right?
Yeah. Last Thursday night.
I do some research on my guests. I do all right. So, good job. Congratulations on all the success so far. So, listeners, make sure you're listening to this guy. If I have to go with a sleeper at quarterback, I'm going to go to that same FSU BC game. I'm going to take a crack there with Darius Wade. Now, again, I'm not too thrilled about this. This is a sleeper pick. Obviously BC much more of a rushing team. I think they're probably going to get blown up a little early. Might cause them to run, spread out the field a little more. I just think for the DraftKings price of $5,400 as your QB2, why not? These other games on the slate, they don't look to be that competitive. We could look at Clemson and Louisville and say, yes, that could get competitive, but I think all in all, Clemson's going to run away with this one. But the thing with Louisville, too, is it's tough to predict who's going to be their quarterback. Petrino came out, I believe it was yesterday or today even, and he said he's not going to name a quarterback until tomorrow. And as we saw last week, both of these guys on Louisville could play. It's just which way is the wind blowing for Petrino, I guess.
Yeah, it makes it tough down in Louisville. Any one of those guys could be a potential sleeper as well. But like we were talking last week, Al, Lamar Jordan, and then all of a sudden he didn't play the second half.
Yeah, so he's smooth. I liked him a lot. I mean, I still do like him a lot. I just, Bolin was slinging the ball out there in the second half. I mean, they really had no choice. They had to, but still, I mean, I liked his throws. I thought they were real crisp. Then, for Lamar, too, I mean, the guy moves amazingly. He's kind of like a wide receiver that can throw the ball, too. Nick, who you got here as a sleeper?
As a sleeper, you guys nailed it. I like Lamar Jordan and Lamar Jackson, the two Lamars. I consider them more as a wild card play. Like you said, we don't know who's going to start tomorrow, and with Jordan, they're going to split time at quarterback. So it's definitely a DraftKings option. If you're going with a two quarterback, you want a cheap one to build up, to have extra salary for running backs and receivers. I would definitely go with one of those cheap options. But definitely some wild card plays there.
Now, if Louisville does come out and says that, they're going to start Jackson, they're going to start Bolin, if you're playing on DraftKings, are you gonna go with one of those guys for sure?
No, I would stay away from those guys. I would go with either Golston with the GPP or Watson as in a 50-50. I would stay away from that.
Case, how about you?
Yeah, kind of. GPP on a short slate, you can kind of roll the dice on anybody. But last week Petrino said Lamar Jackson was going to be a starting quarterback for the foreseeable future. Right. What he meant by that was 2 quarters. So kind of tough to count on it.
Sure future. Hey, now, I know we don't have an official sponsor. I mean, FantasyDraft.com has been very kind to us, but I don't know if you guys have ever had these before, grinds. They're kind of the replacement to dipping tobacco, or if you're trying to stop smoking. Which that's what I fall into. I'm trying to get off the cigarettes. The vaporizer kind of screwed me up a little in the chest. But these grinds, these guys were on Shark Tank. They got a deal with a couple of the sharks there. But real good. It's so instead of tobacco pouches, they're coffee grinds. I don't know if the guys are watching. You never know. Who knows? All right, so let's hit us up with some running backs here. I like this position a lot more than I like the quarterbacks. Obviously, Dalvin Cook had the great game last week, but there are some other great options on the schedule. Casey, who's the lock at running back that we got to have this week?
Going to be obvious again, but with the way Cook's been running the ball on a short slate, I kind of shift my focus from trying to have such an even lineup to just gobbling up as many raw points as I can.
Right.
I have to admit that if this was a larger Saturday slate, I don't know that I would be looking to fit his price, but on such a short slate, you just got to take it on the chin and get Cook in your lineup. There's just too much upside there. and an offense that seems to be centered around him.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if we got to go lock, I don't see any other place that you can go without sounding foolish. I know Boise State has a pretty easy matchup as well. Who knows if Clemson might, start running the ball a little more against Louisville? But I mean, if we're talking about locks, D Cook, no other way you can go. Nick?
Definitely. I'm gonna have to switch it up. Cook is a lock, but I'm looking at another guy, Demario Richard,
All right.
against University of New Mexico. I'm predicting they get up early on the board, and by halftime they just pound the football, chew up that clock, and I see Richard getting a lot of carries. Had a good week 1, had 16 carries, 73 yards, so he's gonna get those carries. I can see him going in the end zone this week. Just like I said, they're gonna get up early and run the ball.
Now, do you see them kicking their ass too much that he doesn't come out for the second half and they put him in a lazy boy or what?
Ooh, that's a good question. I hope it's not that bad where they just put their entire second string out there, but it's hard to predict. New Mexico did give up 600 yards last week.
Yeah, this is what's interesting about these 4-game slates. It's, if you're trying to pick a real ass kicking out there where you can maybe get like a backup running back in there and save yourself some salary, get some maybe like a 20-point outing from a guy that's damn near like $4,000. That's what we're trying to find here. But yeah, I mean, I like Richard. I have him in my lineup over Cook right now at this second. That's just the way the money fell at the moment, but not to say that that's how it's going to wind up. Case, we need a sleeper running back here on the board to either be a flex, to be our RB2. Who is it?
So once again, I think money's kind of easy on FanDuel for this slate, so you don't really need to go that deep on the FanDuel side. But DraftKings, Tyler Rouse is curiously pretty cheap at 4,700. Seems to be a touchdown machine. Clearly, this is their toughest test against Florida State. But as you guys indicated earlier, BC likes to run the ball. Another guy who you might want to be able to catch lightning in a bottle is Gibson from New Mexico. They're kind of like Georgia Tech, where they got 75 running backs to touch the ball every game, but he's got the most playmaking ability out of the bunch. So if you're going to take a stab at somebody for a GPP, Gibson might be the guy to break a few runs off.
Yeah, and I can see Arizona getting up, pretty good on them. Maybe getting a couple, maybe a little dump down passes. There's another guy I like on New Mexico too. He's in the receiver category. We'll get to him in a bit. But yeah, I like Gibson too. Kind of flew under my nose, but I'll take a look. If the master Carruthers says so, definitely get him in there. If I have a sleeper running back, I got to go with Kelsey Young out of Boise State. Again, I believe it's Idaho State that Boise State's playing, correct? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, what's their student body? 400? Come on. I don't even think there's no line on the game yet. Young, he's the second running back there for the Broncos. I see this game getting out of hand real quick. Let it be the Young show in the second half. Again, it's a sleeper. It's a RB2. It's a flex. It's not sexy, but I mean, if we're flipping a coin, let's hope it lands on his good side, right?
Yeah, no, like you're thinking.
Yeah. Nick, sleep.
I'm telling you one guy I'm not going with, Brandon Radcliffe, just because he screwed me last week. I'm still disappointed. I lost by 3 points, and it's because of Radcliffe. I'm blaming it on him.
I know. I had him. I recommended him. That was the play against Lamar last week. But yeah, I told Casey, I was like, it's gonna be Lamar Day at the ballpark today. It was definitely not Lamar Day at the ballpark.
He broke many FanDuel DraftKings hearts that day.
Oh yeah.
Including mine.
I had a pretty decent lineup even with that, and then I had Zaire in there too, and then he goes down. So I had one ineffective and one hurt.
And you still won.
Yeah, well, one of them. For Zaire, if Zaire threw that second touchdown pass to Fuller against UVA in the closing seconds, I mean, it definitely would have been 6 or 6 on Saturday, which is immaculate. But for me, not for all.
Just for you?
Yeah, just for me, because I'm not that good at this stuff. I just act like I know what I'm talking about.
Hey, you know what you're doing. Don't talk about yourself like that, man.
I know. Baseball, I'm looking pretty damn good tonight, man. I had little midget boy Pedroia friggin' 2 homers tonight, 5 ribs.
Nice.
I can't get enough of this stuff, man. Last night I hit pretty big too. Holy crap! All right, no more baseball. This is college football. My apologies. All right, so we need a wild card running back selection. Just one that we're grabbing out of the tailpipe of our car. Casey, who's that guy?
I mean, Gibson's the wild card. A guy that I'm looking at on DraftKings, I don't know how much of a wild card he is. You guys mentioned him. Apparently, he rubbed you guys the wrong way last week, but Radcliffe, he's got good value on DraftKings this week. I'm not really putting him in my FanDuel lineups, but DraftKings, for 4,800, I believe his price is.
Yep.
I think Louisville, with their quarterback influx, they might try to control the game a little bit more and keep Deshaun Watson off the field. This might be Radcliffe at the Park Day. I don't know how many touchdowns you can expect or anything like that, but for 4,800, the opportunity and the volume that he should see, not a bad value play on DraftKings.
Yeah, well, hey, look, you stole my wild card, but you know what? I'm glad. No, I mean, look, with that price point and him being number one on the depth chart there, I mean, I don't know how you can go wrong with that. Yep. I don't think he's going to be. I think he's probably going to be one of the highest owned guys on the night. Tomorrow. So the only thing that does scare me is that Clemson's defense is pretty good. So you got to wonder if they're going to bottle him up. But I still think that at least at 4,800, maybe catch some passes and at least pay off on that. So you know how it goes, man. A guy does piss poor for you. He leaves you that bad taste in your mouth, and it's so hard to forgive him. That happened to me with Chris Bryant in baseball this year. I wouldn't even invite the guy to my pizza party if he brought $1 million. I couldn't be friends with the guy, and then I took him one night and he hit a homer and a triple in that game against Detroit where the wind was blowing out like 30 miles an hour.
Yeah, I remember.
Still haven't rostered him. So.
I had to talk you into it, but you finally did it.
I know. All right, I promise. Last baseball reference on the show. All right, Nick, you got a wild card at running back?
I hate to be the disappointment, but you guys talked about all the running backs I liked. I have no wild card here. Radcliffe is a nice wild card, but I'm still a little heartbroken. I can't do that this week. But he'll probably go off this week, so get him on your teams, especially if Casey likes him.
Yeah. Hey, it's a short slate, man. We're gonna have some overlapping on these.
Exactly.
Hey, Case, you joining us tomorrow for college football?
Yeah, I think I should be able to make it.
All right, good. This will be the big slate. This is where we really get into the big stuff. I like it. All right. We actually had a nice little turnout for our college football show. We aired it like late on Friday, because what the hell else are we doing? But so from going to late night Friday into Saturday, got a nice little turnout on the viewership. So hopefully the people are still looking forward to that stuff. All right, let's talk about the guys catching the balls. We like to call them wide receivers. We like to call them tight ends. You guys can call them whatever you want. We got some big names here on the board. Case, we'll open it up with you again at the receiver spot. Is it anybody other than Artavis Scott?
No. So it could be. You could look at DJ Foster. You really could. But, Arizona State's a 28-point favorite. It's kind of hard to hitch your wagon to a guy where the team might just start running the ball a little bit more. Obviously anything can happen. But Deshaun Watson, he's slinging the rock. With Mike Williams going down for the year or for an extended period of time, Scott's going to be picking up the slack. First true test for Clemson. So Scott, in all likelihood, is probably going to see the largest targets that he's seen all year.
All right, Nick, what do you got here?
I'm looking at a guy from Florida State by the name of Travis Rudolph.
I like it.
Good. We're on the same page then. This guy, I love when we agree. This guy has 10 receptions in 2 games. Florida State's passing game did not look good last week, and he still had 6 catches, which is always a bonus.
Yep.
This is the clear #1 target for Florida State. So looking for a safe lock, this guy is the man, Travis Rudolph at 6,700 on FanDuel.
Now, there's another guy on Florida State that might disagree with you because he's like, my name is Jesus Wilson, but I mean, he might not be. Just because his name is Jesus, he might think he's number one. I'm down with God as always. Yeah, I mean, for me, Artavis Scott, he's the number one guy on the board. DJ Foster as well. I think if we're looking at longevity here, Artavis Scott's the guy you got to go with, and he's also 1,100 cheaper on DraftKings. No way in the world that you could hate that. Yeah, that's where we're going at the top of the board for the wide receivers. I mean, I think that's pretty clear cut. We don't need to spend too much time on it. But I got myself a little sleeper. Let me start off the sleepers here. There's a guy that did unbelievable for me last week. I'm talking about a little guy named Damian Gamblin at a University of New Mexico. Let's get a stat line on this guy from last game. He played Tulsa. Tulsa, a lot of big air-it-out team, so we weren't really looking for the defense. But 8 catches for $131, had a touchdown. Now, what I think is also interesting about Gamblin, 4 attempts, 42 yards rushing, no touchdowns there, but they like to get this guy the ball in a whole lot of different facets. For 4,800, and a guy that they want the ball in his hands there for the Lobos of New Mexico. You gotta have this guy for 4,800.
Definitely. That's a great price tag, 4,800. Got to take advantage of that. Put him as a flex if you need it.
Hold on, time out. The New Mexico is the Lobos, right?
Yes. You nailed it.
Yeah, right? All right. Because I know they got New Mexico State, and they're tricky. I don't know what they are.
They're Aztecs, I think.
Could be. I know we got the San Diego State Aztecs.
Oh, yeah, San Diego State.
Hey, Nick, your favorite mascot's playing on Saturday, the Hilltoppers.
That's my team, Casey. What do you think about the Hilltoppers very quickly? That's my team this year.
I mean, you gotta try to make sure I got this straight. Dangerfield, a little bit banged up. Tywan Taylor stepping up in his place, trying to build off another good year. Dowdy, dude threw from us 5,000 yards last year.
Yeah.
It's kind of that's a lot of yards.
But the most important thing is that their mascot looks like a red grimace. I mean, that's how you determine a great college football team, right? But no, and then what's it? The running back Hall, I believe, or
I know he got hurt last week.
Yeah, Leon Allen.
Allen, yes, he's out for the season, so that's a huge hit for them. You know that, Nicky?
We're still making the top 25. I made that prediction in our preseason college football show. I'm sticking with it.
They came out real lopsided that game against Vandy. I was pretty pissed off because I had WKU all over the board, but I will tell you who I am impressed by, Higbee, man, the tight end there. That guy is an absolute machine. Yeah, he's in every single lineup on Saturday that I have. I don't even care if he's not playing in the late slate. I'm throwing him in the late slate. I'm finding a way. All right, any other sleeper wide receivers, fellas?
I got a guy. I was hoping you guys weren't going to mention him and steal my thunder, but little guy down in Clemson named Ray McLeod.
All right, let's write him down.
So he's kind of coming out of the woodwork, a little dynamic playmaker. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know he's battling for that third wide receiver spot. And this might be a game where they try to get his playmaking ability on the field a little bit more often, and he's coming real cheap on both sides.
Now, Clemson, I believe, as you mentioned, Mike Williams, he's down for 6 to 8 weeks. German Hopper could be a guy that gets in there, but Ray McLeod, you say?
Yeah.
If we had to compare him to anybody, I guess in the college, or I get NFL, so everybody can get a visual of the guy. Who would you compare him to?
Cole Beasley.
All right, I like that. I can get down with that. Every time I always go with like Amendola or somebody like that, but Cole Beasley's a rock star. I can get down with that.
Cole Beasley's very solid.
Yeah, man. Hey, he's about to be more solid now that Desi's gone for a while.
Yep.
I picked him up in my season-long fantasy teams.
Ah, there you go.
Just in time for the Cowgirls to come to town.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, so hold on, Case. I get you're a Phillies fan then, right?
Yeah.
All right, good. We got that in common. My dad was a huge fan. I mean, basically where I grew up is around New York City, so I don't have too many friends around here, being that I'm a Philly fan.
Tough year. Real tough year.
Oh my God, yeah. But hey, Aaron Nola.
Yeah.
I like it. And then J.P. Crawford. I promised that'd be the last baseball mention, but now that we're talking about Phil's baseball, that just goes all out the window. Who cares? All right. Any other receivers that we got here? Nick, sleeper?
Did we talk about Damian Gablin?
I did.
Yes.
Oh, that guy.
We can
He
talk
is
about
so
some more.
ridiculously low priced on FanDuel. You have to take advantage of that.
What's his price there?
4,500.
4,500. Wow.
That's minimum wage.
Yeah, I kind of I don't know what my deal is this year. I really like DraftKings for football this year. And I am not a big fan of the two quarterback system. I don't like it, but I do like the flex spot. So, I don't know. You kind of got to trade off for them.
Yeah, and you don't have to pick a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, hey, he could be going on Saturday, so he's coming. I
actually have him on my Thursday slate here.
Oh yeah, you're gonna play that
He's in
off?
my lineup.
I got you. All right. So I guess we'll close it out with a couple wild card wide receivers. Case, you got anybody in mind? And it could be more than one.
Yeah, I would say Tim White from Arizona State.
Okay.
He didn't play week 1. He only touched the ball 3 times last week, but he had 1 rush for, I think, 49 yards and 2 catches for 20-some yards and a touchdown. With this being the most lopsided game on the plate, probably might get him a little extra run in the fourth quarter. Obviously, if you can figure out the depth chart on Boise State, whoever's going to play in that game when they're up 700-2, some of those guys might be worth as I call them, lawn darts.
All right. I love lawn darts, but you just don't want to get hit by them. Nick, anybody on receiver for you?
Wild card, Devin Lucien out of Arizona State.
Yep.
Like we mentioned, it's going to be a high-scoring game, so I'm hoping he's one of the guys to get the touchdown early. And then he just sits on the bench, but I'm happy with those 6 points. So it's definitely a wild card play.
Yeah.
Risky, but might be worth it.
All right, my wild card's going to be a little different. Now, this guy's produced for me in the past. Oh, I even get a drum roll for the grand finale. Very nice. Thomas Spurback out of Boise State. Now, Boise State hasn't done too much passing the ball this year, but they're actually one of the few teams in college football that's played legit teams their first 2 games. They opened up against Washington, and then they also played BYU. No slouches, as compared to a New Mexico State or a Grambling or whoever. They haven't gotten the passing game going this season. Boise State's a very legitimate program. I look for them to get some offense going in places where they didn't think they would get it. So I like Spurback. You got the other receiver over there. Williams Rhodes. But I like Spurback more in this one. Hey, it's a wild card. I can do what I like with it.
Exactly. That's the best part about our wild card. You say whatever, and if it goes bad, you just blame the wild card.
I hear you. Yeah, Spurback did great for me in a couple of those late night Saturday slates where it's like Nevada, Boise State, Montana, whoever the hell's going late at night. So I got history with Spurback there. All right, well that closes it out for us. Anything that we could be looking forward to in tomorrow's show? I know we got a great Saturday lined up. It sucks because I got a freaking date that I got to go out on. I'm going to be out most of the day, so I can't even sit down and be lazy and watch all the games. But, I know. They got the...
this is the second date here?
Yeah, they got the San Gennaro Festival going on in Belmar, so, got to hit that up.
Definitely. That sounds like a lot of fun.
They got TVs out there. I'm sure I could catch a game or 2 going. But this is why God made mobile telephone devices, so we can do that.
That's what I was about to tell you.
I will say, though, I am looking forward to, because this is rare that we get this, but we have an over-under of 80 on the schedule. So we got Memphis at Bowling Green going. The over-under is 80.5. I'm just letting you know right now. I'm going to have some players in that game.
I think I'm avoiding that game. That's too low for me.
Are you looking for the 126.5?
I'm looking for the hundreds. I'm looking for the hundreds.
All right, well,
I might get that from WKU.
Hey, Case, did you write your article yet for the weekend slate?
Yes.
All right, so
Not quite done yet, though. Probably be going out tonight or sometime tomorrow afternoon.
All right, and as always, guys, you can check out Casey's articles, dailyfantasysportsrankings.com. Great website there. I talked to the guys that run the site there a couple of times, so great guy. Doug and John? James, Doug and James.
Yep.
Yeah, been a while since I talked to him, but yeah, both good guys, and that's actually a really good site. You guys want to get a lot of info out there. They have a lot of qualified writers on that site for every single sport, so definitely make sure you guys check that out. But Case, before we go, anything that we're looking forward to on the weekend slate?
You got a big slate Saturday morning. Pricing is a little bit more forgiving than normal, so it's going to be difficult to kind of pinpoint who your horses are.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of options.
I can't, I'm starting to like the college game more than the pro game. I just think there's a lot more value out there, and a lot more unknowns that I guess not too many other people know about, but I know about, or you know about, or Nick knows about. Like, I think once you really get down to cracking on this college game, you can really separate yourself with a lot of unknown guys out there.
Yeah, definitely a bigger edge.
Indeed. All right, well, Case, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Tell the people where they can find you on Twitter.
Yeah, no doubt. Oh, at Carruthers.
All right, yeah. If you saw any of our tweets tonight, you could hit the link on there for them. We're actually doing a double dip tonight, so we got the NFL show coming up in about 26 minutes, 10 p.m. East Coast time. The vocal lungs are good; they're fresh. Nicky, what are we looking forward to in NFL tonight, Nick?
We're looking at my surprise picks for quarterback this week. I'm going to shock the world. Should be a lot of fun.
I got a QB wide receiver combo right in my neck of the woods that's going to be going down on Sunday.
Can I take a guess?
Yeah, go for it.
Jameis Winston and Vincent Jackson.
All right, no, really, take your guess. That's not funny, Nick. That's not funny. Kate, I grew up in a lot of cities, but I grew up in Tampa too, so the Bucs are my favorite team. So, needless to say, Sunday I wanted to break a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
Terrible. But no, I'll give it up for you. I had Eli Manning and ODB this weekend. They hit for 3 touchdowns against that Atlanta defense who, listen, they're probably still basking in their glory from that Monday night win. So I like to pick on the teams that won on Monday night the previous week. Little tip. So there you go. All right, Case, we'll see you again tomorrow night. Maybe same time, maybe an hour later, but we will break down the entire Saturday slate for everyone.
All right.
So definitely make sure you tuned in. All right, we are the Big Three. We'll see you in about 25 minutes. Peace.